I'm Erin Lawler Patterson, the goodness chick. I'm an addictions counselor, motivational speaker, author, and parent coach. Join me on the journey of navigating the joys and pitfalls of life, addressing parenting, giving back, mental health, addiction, and relationships. If it takes a village, then join me as one of those villagers. Villagers wanted.
I think sometimes we can feel like there's a pressure in terms of our success, in terms of fulfillment being defined by material objects. This can be something that there's a tug with for many of us, especially in the workplace, especially as parents, where we're kind of comparing ourselves to other people. If my kids, don't have this type of clothing, these brands, the latest iPhone technology, and we can get convoluted in what we really think our needs are compared to our wants. And I believe there needs to be this return to simplicity, basic things in really defining between what we want and what we need. I think when we get caught up in materials without even knowing it, when we get caught up in comparing ourselves to other people and our priorities get skewed, it changes our quality of life. We get stressed out. We can feel overwhelmed. This is where depression can kick in. It can affect our relationships. It can change us really kind of as people, our personality. And my guest today, I was kind of blown away when I first met him. Within 10, 15 minutes, we were chatting. And we actually, for a little bit more than a month, we are renting a flat from his family. Romeo Mihovic from Kotor, Montenegro. We're pretty much, absolutely looking over the Kotor Bay. And just somebody who embodies what it is to know what life is really about in terms of basics, family, good friends, the importance of tradition within our culture or our country. And I think it's a beautiful thing. So I hope today that you'll glean a lot from what he has to say. The ability to keep things in priority. And really, I've learned so much in the 2 months that we've been traveling. Almost a month we've been in Montenegro, in the Kotor area, and just in our time here, learning about how, man, tradition's so important. Preserving your family history is so important. And as I sat having a cup of coffee with Romeo, talking about how, his family's been in this area for over 600 years. That's crazy. What a beautiful, rich history that is, and how, he lives in what's called Lower Stoli. His family originally was from Upper Stoli, which is literally up on the mountain. My husband and son and I, spent an afternoon where we hiked up. I thought it was kind of it was a fun, interesting hike. It was this canopy of chestnut trees. It was breathtaking and beautiful. But this was something back in the day, the people that lived in Upper Stoli would walk up and down to go to school, to get their to the bakery, to the store, to whatever. And I'm thinking, holy smokes. And on our way down from Upper Stoli, there was a couple, they had to be in their 80s, and they had a horse, and it was loaded up with groceries and everything. And I'm thinking, okay, I was sweating, and I was like, oh my gosh, this was a hike, and I consider myself in fairly decent shape. And these guys, this is what they do. And I believe when you know where you come from, I believe when you know what hard work is, you focus on tradition, our priorities, it kind of makes us enjoy life a little bit better. And one of the things that I found with Romeo is when I feel like he has a balance of things, and the dude's less stressed. I look at the stress levels of so many of us back in the States, or just who maybe we're just caught up, man, and then we're working and we're balancing and we're juggling. And life, man, we can just be stressful. And in that, we lose track of enjoying life. We lose track of just the basics of breathing and living and being full. And that's a bummer when we consider how how fleeting life is. And I look at, all around me, I walk around and there's all these things with the different festivals they have here, celebrating chestnuts and seafood and wine and life. And I know there's plenty of festivals back in the States, but in such a concentrated area, there's a whole lot of pride. And I think that's a really, really neat thing. I do believe part of Romeo's focus has come from his time where he spent some time as a seaman with the Navy, and he did psychiatric clearance for people that were serving. He then transitioned over to the local municipality here as a social worker for over 20 years. And I do believe when you're in the mental health field, it's intense, it's hardcore, but it also can really, if you allow it to, fine tune your perspective in life. So I think between his personality, his life experience, it has given him a clearer and more beautiful view of life. And I hope that you enjoy today's episode and get as much out of it as
All
I
right,
have.
so today I have Romeo with me of Montenegro, Kotor.
Kotor, Montenegro, the state of Montenegro. This is actually the Bay of Kotor.
The Bay of Kotor.
And we are people from Kotor or Bokelian.
Okay.
People Bokelian.
Balkan.
Some Montenegrins, some Croats, some Serbs, some other nationalities, but we always say like local people. We always say we are people from Bokelian, the so-called Bokelian.
Okay.
With a different tradition than Montenegro inside and the other countries around.
Okay.
So we are Bokelian, like local people.
And your family has been here?
Has been here since 600 years.
Wow.
In Upper Stoliv. This is Lower Stoliv, the village in the middle of Gulf, the Bay of Kotor. That is actually the UNESCO World Heritage Area.
Okay, the heritage area.
So we are in the middle, geographically, in the middle of this bay, Stoliv, the village Stoliv, near the sea, Lower Stoliv. But the oldest settlement was upstairs in the middle of this hill.
Which was a hike.
Excellent.
We survived.
You try and you survive.
Yeah.
Now you can suppose how it's for my family and ancestors that every day they go up and down, twice, three times a day for a school, for their jobs and everything they need down.
Come down.
Although there were a school, the church, the bakery, I don't know, everything they need, like one autonomous city. City.
It's a beautiful place. And it's changed over the years. Excellent. And I know you would share, not only has your family been here many years, but this area has been through a lot and I'll kind of rewind a little bit. You spent some time serving as a seaman in the Navy.
Yeah.
How many years were you?
I studied for a seaman, but I left this story because the earthquake in catastrophic earthquake in 1979 stopped my career. So I need to stay at home to rebuild my house that was sunk down.
Right.
And in this year, my father was dead. So I needed to lead my family to reconstruct the house. So I stayed at the ground. I left this story about seamanship, although I was finished all the schools and exercise for
your commitment to it.
Yeah. So, but I live even now seamanship. But I stayed here. I have never gone at the sea.
Okay. So after in 79, the earthquake that, many listeners might not even know that in 1979 there was a catastrophic earthquake just wiped everything out.
All edifices, old houses, everything what was new, old constructed houses and the other objects was sunk down. Even catastrophically, the small peninsulas or with the sand and many parts of the shore of the seaside was sunk down and like catastrophically earthquake. But after the 79, ex-Yugoslavia government and all the people from ex-Yugoslavia helped these people from Montenegro, from this area, to rebuild the houses, to construct new houses, new infrastructure and everything. So now is a very developed part.
But you were part of that.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, you stopped from being in the Navy. You dropped everything, came here.
For me, it's better staying around than go on the Navy. There are many, too much money.
Okay.
I would earn too much money, but this is not the life, real life. Real life is here to stay at home, to stay at your village, and to pick up everything what you can of this life, of this nature, of the tourism, or everything.
It makes life simple, but I think beautiful.
Yes.
Because I know we've spoken quite a lot about, and this is why I asked you, I wanted to chat with you today, is your outlook on life. You know, where I use the word resilient, meaning that, you know, you were in the Navy. I know you shared that you used to do like psychiatric kind of clearance with the Navy. The earthquake happened. You came here for your family, help rebuild your community. And when I came here, just the feeling of like comfortable, at ease,
natural life.
Natural.
The life is very natural here for all the people that stayed here.
Family.
Because family. Family like the unique, the first and the basic part of the life. Basic, this is the fundament, family. So I have my family with my wife and 2 children with 5 grandchild and for 1 month I will be, I hope, the sixth. So I stayed here and I live here very good. My salary is not too much. I don't earn. I'm in pension from the new year. This new year.
Congratulations.
Yeah, thank you. But my pension is only 370 euros. This is, let's say, nothing. But maybe nothing for USA. But for here is. You can survive here with the tourism, little tourism, and my wife works. She's a professor for surdo deaf children. So next time she will be pensioned.
Sure. Yeah.
So I decided to stay at home and be here in this area. I think the most beautiful of Montenegro, although Montenegro is whole, beautiful country with many differences from the sea to the north Montenegro, from the Mediterranean tropical climate, little change climate in the middle, and with a climate mountain climate, very cold.
You have everything.
Yeah, we have everything in Montenegro. It's very small. But I think how the inhabitants are in Montenegro. It's very small.
It's small, but it's compact.
Not even 1 million.
Yeah. Wow, not even 1 million.
600,000, 650,000 inhabitants, not even 1 million. Yeah.
But it has a character of its own. I know we've been here a few weeks, and it's it feels like home. And you know, you guys have been a part of that.
I think so.
Do you think any of your outlook is reflective of your time? I know you had shared for 20 years you were a social worker here to the municipality, correct?
Yeah, I worked at municipality.
Do you feel like that experience as a social worker had any impact on how you look at things or how you deal with people?
Yes, it is very important to be a good person, first of all, good character, so you can go inside of every mind, everybody's mind and soul, to talk with everybody, with everybody's problem, and resolve the problem if you can. I think it is the main opportunity and everything that you need to have to be good worker of one municipalities and one worker employment who works with this population.
And I think we all have our own things that we struggle with, and being able to help. And somebody who's,
everyone's personality is different. So you need to have approach to every person in trouble, especially for disabled people.
Did you worked with the elderly that were disabled, or just specifically those?
So I was the leader of one team for Geronto workers, Geronto house workers. I don't know how do you say. Those are one group of ladies,
a group of
educated, a little educated, not so much education, for helping people in their homes. Once, twice a week. So they help the people in their works, to everyday's works, houseworks, in the kitchen, in the home.
More independence.
So they help. I think that I was a very successful leader of this team.
I'm sure.
Every day they called me now, so I'm pensioned, to ask me something, to congratulate, to say, to change the different experience, some helps, virtual, or I come back to municipality to help them to show to where the papers are for something, to resolve some problem. Even I am now pensioner.
No but you have a lot of experience. The experience is, valuable.
Yes, I think it's so.
It
is so good that I couldn't escape, so from my work, escape and never to salute my friends and never help them. Although I don't have to do it, but I feel that I need, that they need some help of me, so I voluntarily help them, suggest something. So
it's a tough field.
I think it depends on personality. It's not everybody like me, but I feel that I have to help the people. I always like to help the people during my life. Even when I was very young in my childhood, during scholarship, I always and I have some feelings to help people, especially for old people. I work with young people in our society, young organization, and preschool people, child. I always
all ages.
Work all ages. Even now, I am the president of one NGO organization that next year celebrate 100 years.
Oh wow!
This NGO is 100 years, almost 100 years old. So I am the leader of this NGO, and I have many young people, although old people. And this organization works with for preserving the cultural and natural heritage of this area. So we preserve the tradition through various activities. And I always work with some people.
And I think
preserving
good culture and history, young and old and in between is important.
Always you need to connect young men and old men.
Generations.
Because everybody have our target.
Yes, different outlook. So last question I'll have for you. So if I have somebody listening here that maybe is caught up in distractions, meaning they work all the time, or they're looking at always getting a bigger car, a bigger house, what do you say? Not that we're judging them at all, but what do you say to them, because your philosophy is so different and so I'd say almost pure in your outlook? Like what wisdom would you kind of have to lend to that person?
I didn't understand all your question, but if I'm wrong, you need to know my opinion to these houses that are constructed after the earthquake. Maybe you talk about it.
Those who want.
You have American English, so
I'm sorry, American English. I know.
So I cannot so fast.
So those
understand.
who like.
I teach Shakespearean English.
I'm doing Jersey English here. Those who feel like life is work, life is big car, life is a big house, life is money.
Not those. Everything what you mentioned is not the life. It doesn't exist for me. The money exists for me only for elementary things. But everything is different here. I told you how much I earn for a month, 370. My professor, my wife have only 600. So you can survive and you can live with it. Because I have a car of 15 years old, but this car have 4 vehicles, 4 wheels, 4 wheels, and very good for pick you up from one to the other point. I don't need Cadillac or something like Dodge or Ford. You know?
Yeah.
I don't like it. I had one French car. Renault Laguna was excellent, but my son broke it.
Oh, jeez.
So I put it away, you know. Now, it is very good car for me. So we every day survive because we have everything at home. We buy something at markets, what we need. We have enough vegetables around, so that I have very good quantity of these vegetables, fruits, even fruits. I always go fishing so I can get some fish at home. And our life is very, very good. I don't need anything more. I think that my family is satisfied. Even I think my guest is satisfied. I always offer for my guest brandy, domestic brandy,
very good brandy,
wine,
yes.
wine, domestic
very good wine.
very good wine, olive oils, good domestic olive, good olives, everything what can I offer for a few money from this land around. I work about with it during the season, where is the season, a little grape. So we can live without too much things that are expensive. You see that my house is not so crazy. Let's say luxurious house. It's not luxurious house. Even the apartments is not luxurious.
It's comfortable.
Apartment. But comfortable, you have everything you need in this apartment. What you need. This is not I don't know. So luxury is like in other around
unnecessary.
But I think that the other things exist in one house and around my house that you need. During the night, even now, you can feel and look and hear only the silent and some insects.
It's calm.
Even some mosquitoes.
Peaceful. Some mosquitoes. I got my spray. Homemade spray. And I think it's a beautiful philosophy. I hope so. It is, absolutely. I want to thank you for sitting and chatting and for caring about so many people in your heart, because it has an effect that passes on to other people. So thank you.
Thank you.
You're awesome.
We are our host, and we are always welcome.
Thank you.
And everybody who likes.
I say, come on down, come on down.
USA and from everywhere.
All over. I say, come on to Romeo's. Finding that balance is really important in terms of our quality of life. And I think it's about us also setting an example for those around us, whether that be our kids, our family members. How do we live our life? And when we're able to find that balance and avoid that pull towards material objects, towards distractions that really kind of take away and dilute what life's all about, it makes us better people. And so when we surround ourselves with people who will say, get it, who are able to bob and weave the distractions of life, I think that makes it a little bit easier. It can be tempting to try to keep up with what your neighbor has, what your kids' friends have, materials, titles, status, excess can be a pull. But when we're able to keep a balance, there's nothing wrong with having nice things. There's nothing wrong with being comfortable. But I believe we're not supposed to be comfortable throughout the course of our entire life. There are times to be uncomfortable, pushing ourselves in terms of growth. And that means at times not having everything we want, finding that balance where it's family, it's faith, it's I look around here when in terms of the kind of the Mediterranean mentality, it's faith, friends, family, good food, nature, breathing, sitting down and spending more time eating dinner than making dinner, good conversation, having a long cup of coffee with somebody and just learning more about them. There's a beautiful thing when it's a focus on relationships, when it's a focus on the ability to be still and find kind of that real beautiful balance in terms of what your priorities are. And it doesn't have to take you, sitting on a porch overlooking the Kotor Bay in Montenegro for that to happen. But it's something that we have to be intentional about. And I think when we are, and it's something we focus on, and we have to maybe check in every once in a while to say, am I in a good place? Which is an okay thing to do, and it's a healthy thing to do. It allows us to stay on a path that will make our life, I do believe, less stressful, our relationships stronger and more authentic, and us as human beings in a better place. And that's what it's all about. So I hope you enjoyed today's episode with Romeo. I've certainly enjoyed getting to know him and his family, and what a pleasure that's been. And also very proud and happy to be part of the Mental Health News Radio Network. It's good stuff, my friends. Let's keep spreading goodness and keeping the balance going. Peace, love, and goodness.
If you enjoyed today's show, I encourage you to subscribe to Goodness Chicks podcast and pass it along to your friends. I hope you enjoyed today's episode and have a great day.